Perfect. So moving on, now we're going to talk about the investigative levels that we have. As I told you, we have three approaches for this. First one is the physical, which is the anatomical, physiological, allopathic investigation, which will include anamnesis, physical examination, and complementary examinations that will be, it can be lab tests, can be imaging tests, can be biopsies if you might need it, and so forth. This first level, it will be performed, it will be requested when the patient comes to you with symptoms, which are mainly chronic symptoms that we are talking about here. And what are they? Symptoms that will last over 30 days. And with or without treatment, they might improve at some level, but then they will come back and they will bother the patient again. So in this situation, you will do what we call the first level of investigation. First one, which is the physical one, okay? So we have medical examination, we have complementary tests, and we have the results, right? So according to these results, that we'll see if the patient will need any allopathic treatment, which will include medication, procedures, surgeries, if this requires, and if there's no answer on this examination and on your anamnesis and physical examination, then we're going to go to the second level. The second level is what we call is the mental level of investigation. And here we will start to find the patterns that will take this patient to probably a circle of stimulation of that adrenergic circuits, that as we call it, or the surviving circuits that we call it. So what are these things related to? This is important now that we understand. We can have some patterns that are surrounding this patient, and we will take during the conversation the premises that will take this patient to these symptoms behind the core situation. We will talk to him about or subconscious or around or the surroundings that he has possible triggers for him or for her. And also, when he speaks about the symptoms, we will see the alchemic symbols that are involved with those symptoms. For instance, if a patient has some epigastric pain and he has already investigated, he has already been through the specialists, he has taken the medication, and he has some intermittent improvement, and also takes care of his food habits. And he once every 3 or 4 months has issues over the same symptom. And he has done already endoscopy, recent ones, and etc. When we're talking about this kind of pain, alchemically, we are talking about an operation that we call calcinatio. This is the fire operation. This will have the bonding to maybe expectations that this person has of something in her life that are not accomplished, simply because they are not part of her central path, of his central path, his path of individuation, as we call it. Now we're starting to talk about Jung. So this person wants something to be like she wants it or like he wants it, but it does not make part of her self pathway, of the individuation way. So what happens if this person insists on that? Her body will eventually burn, as we call the pain, as the patients acknowledge this pain. It's like a fire in my stomach. It's like it comes back, reflux as well. So we're talking about the alchemic symbol of this symptom once we do not have an anatomical or physiological issue for that. And it's very well related to the sympathetic nervous system being constantly activated, and on the other hand, the parasympathetic system, which includes the vagus nerve, which is the 10th para, which comes running besides the esophagus. This nerve is, in the other hand, stimulated to buffer the adrenergic effect. And when this happens, he has what we call a paracrine side effect, let's say. And it is that it enhances the production of chlorhydric acid in the stomach. And so this person, which is always, let's say, vigilant about something, some expectation, some situation, and cannot control it with her mind or her mental state, ends up making her own body regulates through this buffering system, which is the parasympathetic stimulation. And it will have this side effect, which is the augmentation of chlorhydric acid production on the stomach. And of course, if you have too much acid in a place where it only holds space for some, of course, what's going to happen? It will start hurting that tissue, that mucosa, even though she's prepared for it, even though the mucosa is prepared for it. So this is what we call the second level of investigation, and the mental triggers that might have this person, like this one simple example, be linked to. So the person does not have a tumor, does not have an ulcer, and does not have an incompetent valve. But this person has recurrent epigastric pain, for instance. The same example we can use with those people that arrive in the emergency room, always claiming that they're having a heart attack. And of course, the first thing you're going to make is to investigate that. Of course, you're going to do this, the whole battery, according to the protocol. And surprisingly, many times this person does not have a heart attack happening to her, but the person feels like it, like the pressure over the chest. I cannot breathe. It hurts too much. I feel like I'm going to die. And the person comes sweating and comes nauseated, just like heart attack happening. But it's not. And once you have finished the investigation of this person, often the person will have the diagnosis of, oh, it's an anxiety crisis. You have to treat the anxiety. So the person goes to a psychiatrist, goes to a psychologist, starts medication, starts therapeutic sessions. And okay, yeah, it happened. It helps for a while, but every 3 months, every 4 months, this person ends up in an emergency room again and investigated again, and so on. When this happens, you can say that this person might have an issue with the symbolic heart, as we call it. So it's a question of, it's called the heart chakra, we call, which is about you giving your truth to the world. What's your mission in this world? Your identification with your upper part, or with yourself, indeed. And when the person is so disconnected from this, by endogenous situation or by exogenous situation, by the environment that this person lives, she or he might have these symptoms as a call to look inside and see, who am I? What do I want for myself in my life? So when this happens, it might come to this, let's say, intense outcome. So these are just examples, okay? So alchemically, we're talking here about this disidentification of the person and when the heart hurts, okay? So this would be the second level of investigation. And the third level of investigation, which we call the connective level has to do with indeed with the field, the connection of this person and her body, and what it emanates, and what the environment around her or him emanates as well. So it's magnetic field. We're talking about quantum physics associated to this. So the frequency that this person has and the frequency that determined environment has, if this person is not aware of that, might fragment the field that this person has. And then these fragmented parts start breaking, let's say, and then the external frequency, which can be low or high, generally to end up in symptoms. It's a lower frequency that will enter, and then will start to steal the vital energy of the person that we're talking about. And so this person might end up having symptoms of chronic fatigue, anemia, indeed, with no cause. No cause, of course. Investigation is all done. You go through all the exams, and you do not find the material issue that this person has. For instance, anemic state, or in leukopenic state, or pancytopenia as well. I have patients that had these diagnoses, and they were strictly related to the environment and to the level of stress that this patient lived for decades. And now, what happens in the end? She is a chronic anemic, leukopenic, neutropenic patient. And even biopsy was made for her. And what did it find? Low production without cause. So, as you can see, of course, the rest was investigated as well, and turned out negative. And what was the issue with her? She had a serious issue being the bridge between a father and the son that did not come to a agreement of way of living, basically. So it was a very difficult situation for her for many decades. Today she's better, but it took a long time, and it took the health of her body for it. And now she's 75 years old. So these are just some examples. I had another ones for thyroid, patients who had thyroid issues as well, hypothyroidism, right? So the person is held on time, and she cannot go further in time because the person keeps arrested on the past time, think, oh, it was so great there, it was so good back then. And so the person does not have the ability to move the energy ahead, for instance. Of course, investigation done, once again, all of that, okay? So the symbolic medicine, as you see here, with these levels of investigation, will focus on concrete anatomical and psychological aspects of health. And this will include analyzing the physical symptoms, performing examination, applying conventional medical treatments when necessary. So once these does not work, this is essentially done firstly. And once you do not have success on this, then we will think about the mental level that will evolve the understanding of the patient mental and psychological processes. We'll recognize the mind and the body are intrinsically linked, and mental health can have significant impact on physical health, as we all know. And in this level, the symbolic anamnesis will be used to identify the possible psychological, emotional causes of these physical symptoms, okay? And how do we do this symbolic anamnesis? So we must know about alchemy. We must know about the principal symbols that happen in each and every alchemic operations and phases. We must know the symbolic language of dreams, and all of this I will be teaching you in a sequence here, and the emotional patterns that are contributing to the illness. So in the subtle level, it will refer to the patient's energetic field, as I told you. This is the abstract level of investigation, but you need to see what are the energies this person is involved with. So practitioners may use different techniques to access the energetic field, like how the patient feels regarding heaviness, fatigue, sleepiness, snoring, when it's on the environment. This is very common when the energy is heavy, that you enter the room and you start snoring incessantly. It happens, it's field regulation that is happening right there. Especially when you are in a family field, like, you go to your parents' house, you go to your son's house, and you might have some issues that you have not acknowledged yet, okay? And this can help find out energetic imbalances that will contribute to illness or discomfort, okay? So this, what I'm talking to you here, will see the individual as a whole, not only as a spleen, a liver, a brain, a lung, a heart, or an articulation, for instance, okay? Because all of these have meaning for besides the anatomic and physiological meaning, okay? And a lot of people today talk about psychosomatic symptoms, and they're nothing more than what we call the mind materializing symptoms in your body. And how do we see this? Through the lenses of the medicine and symbolic. So we're going to talk about this in a minute.